I once had a man suck on my toes. Then I immediately left.
Oh no. I'm scared. Oh no.
I think Jen is fake.
I apologize for my voice. I'm sick. I think that reality TV and professional wrestling have a lot of similarities because we all know by this point that it's fake, but for the people that enjoy it, that doesn't really take away from the experience. Like, I know that in reality TV, things are added, producers are mixing things up, some stuff is left out. I know that they're being dramatic, but when I watch it, that doesn't really matter as much as the drama that's happening. There's this idea in communication studies called hyperreality, which is the idea that we interact with produced media a lot that we take as real life. We understand that something is produced, but we see it as a true representation of reality. It's a hyper-reality. And I think it's interesting that hyper-reality applies to reality TV because when I watch it, I know this is a made thing. It's intended to be dramatic. But at the same time, Jesse needs to stop being so dramatic. I'm talking about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but the show itself doesn't really matter. I just want to talk about a few specific moments. So if you have seen the show, great. If you haven't seen the show, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give some context, but try to spoil as little as I can in case you want to go watch it. So in reality TV, you're kind of in this limbo sort of state. You're choosing to accept what you see as real. You're forming real opinions about these people, about the world, but you know, ultimately this is something that's fake. And so kind of the goal with the editing that you see a lot is to make things feel as real as they can. I believe it was Love is Blind that switched to solid glasses so that they could cut and edit conversations together more without you noticing, hey, that person's drink just got like 50% fuller between those two sentences. That she didn't say that. So we all know that it's fake and we're all okay with the fact that it's fake. But when you're watching it, you're not supposed to think about that. You're supposed to buy into it. Otherwise, what's the point? And there's 3 moments in this show that the mask completely falls off. I'm gonna go down them here. You won't believe number 3. The first moment surrounds Jen and Zach. Basically, their relationship has been on the rocks since the end of season 1. Jen went to a Chippendales performance with a bunch of the other girls. Zach was very unhappy about it, and it got pretty hostile pretty quickly. I understand not wanting your wife to go to, a strip club, but he handled it really poorly, I'd say.
He doesn't want to be married to me if I do stuff like that. I just hate when he starts questioning my character.
So they're back in season 2, they're kind of trying to figure it out, and Jessie and Demi, 2 of the other girls, decide that they're gonna have their husbands dress up like Chippendale dancers and dance on Jen at a Halloween party, which obviously pisses Zach off because, why wouldn't it? And there's kind of this moment where Jen is hesitant, at least that's, what she tells the camera, but then in the moment, she's dancing, she's enjoying it, she's pretending to slap some ass, like she's obviously into it in the moment, or at the very least pretending to be into it in the moment. So the drama is who's right, who's wrong. Demi and Jessie are saying, we checked with you, Jen, we talked to you, and you said that this was okay. Jen is saying, I had no idea it was gonna be like that, this was not okay to me, you guys need to do better, whatever. The problem isn't the drama itself. The problem is that they showed that footage because when they show it, all I can think is, show us the rest.
I knew partially of what they were gonna do.
Brett is gonna come in like normal costume, rip it off into like a Chippendales.
I love that. But I didn't realize how bad this was upset Zach.
Like, there's obviously footage somewhere on a hard drive on some computer that shows exactly what happened. We don't need to be having this drama because we can just see it, but they don't show us. And so as Zach talks to these friends, as Zach talks to the husbands, as Jen confronts them, the whole time I'm just sitting there like, guys, I know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? So the moment is lost. The reality is broken. They should have just not included that clip because then it gets into a he said, she said sort of situation. But instead they kind of went for that situation while showing us half of a clip that would have cleared it up. So this one is really just the fault of the editors and the producers on this show. I think that they showed the hand a little bit too much. When you're making a reality show and you're presenting what you want people to believe is reality, you can't show them how you doctored it or that you're holding on to information, because then we're just going to ask for that information instead of being invested, right? The second moment, this might be my favorite one, is surrounding Whitney. For a lot of reasons, Whitney was the villain of season 1. People didn't like her. She caused a lot of drama.
While your baby was in the hospital. Do you regret that choice?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I wish I never made that video
You got a
because
lot
of the
heat for
outcome
it.
that came from it.
Yeah.
I think anyone would agree with me on that one.
Do you regret it just because of the outcome, or do you regret it because you think that the intention maybe wasn't genuine?
I think I 1,000% regret it because of the outcome.
At the end of the show, she left Mom Talk, this group of girls. I don't think I mentioned that before. It doesn't fucking matter.
We were raised to be these housewives for the men, serving their every desire. Well, I'm like, fuck this. So I created Mom Talk.
She left Mom Talk, and then season 2, she's coming back. She wants to be reinvited into Mom Talk. And so she's trying to, mend fences and become good with all these girls again. She has an idea to surprise Macy, the best person on the show, with, a celebration of her and some of her accomplishments. Great, that's a cool idea. She sends a group chat message to everyone but Macy to talk about that and kind of plan that. Talking heads are these moments where people explain their thoughts or what's going on in that moment. But obviously we know, once again, we already know that those moments aren't happening in that moment, because in that moment, they're in that moment. I can't wrap my head around this decision. Whitney sends that text to the entire group. Then we have this moment where everyone's just doing their talking heads, and they get a text from Whitney, and they all look at their phone at the same time, and it's like a Mean Girls, call montage, and they're all like, I'm not gonna respond to that. What the fuck?
I'm gonna leave that one on red.
That's not how the show works. That's not how any reality show works. Do you really want us to believe that you're filming talking heads at the same time that Whitney's doing all of this, and that all of them had their phone off silent and saw that notification while they were doing their talking heads? It's just not. No, I don't believe it. I refuse to believe that. So then I know that the talking heads are separate from what's actually happening, but now it's like, oh, wait, we've crossed a line here. They tried to make things more real, and in doing so, they kind of just ruined it. Me and my girlfriend both were just like, what is going on? Because that moment now, everything that they're saying in the talking heads after that, really for the next couple of minutes, because you can't get it out of your mind, feels so fake and doctored because it draws it in right away. What they're saying is not happening when they're saying it. This is stuff that they've said way after the events took place. Stop pretending like that's not the case. We know that's the case. By you trying to pretend that it's not, it just kind of breaks the whole thing. And the last one, this is really interesting. I'm a fan of fourth wall stuff. I like meta commentary. I like when the wall gets broken.
It gets easier.
Huh?
Every day it gets a little easier.
In reality show, you can't break that because it makes it clear once again that you're watching a show. So Demi, who, one of the people who had her husband get naked and dance. Sorry, not naked. He was wearing pants.
Therapy. I gave consent. Jen thought it was funny. Your husband to rub his little dick. Jen, he didn't rub his dick on you. He had pants on.
It's revealed that Demi was willing to cut people out of the show in order to get a bigger payday for herself, because this is a show that they get paid for.
Wait, I had a question about last night, though, with Demi asking you to be out of the show because of the money. Sorry, I just still don't, what really happened?
And she was willing to cut out her best friend, Jessie. Her reasoning for it is that they were at a tough point in their relationship, and she acted out and just was unhappy, and they've resolved that. She's also willing to say on camera during the show that she's on that she is the star of the show that she is on.
I've also been told that you think you deserve the biggest brand deals, and I'm curious to why you think you deserve that.
I never said that one time.
I heard that too. I heard that too.
I actually heard that too. It's not a shock that I was a fan favorite.
It was honestly one of the most interesting moments of reality TV. I guess, you know, this wasn't really a bad moment, but it did completely break the reality TV side of it. One of the other people, Taylor, who is kind of the reason this entire show happens, there was a big scandal. She took, you know, the most of the criticism for it and kind of publicly talked about it. And that's what sparked the show. In a lot of ways, especially during season 1, she was the main character of the show, you could say, if it even makes sense to, you know, have a main character. But she's now like, oh, you think you're the most important? Like, you think you're the main character?
Demi wasn't even originally going to be casted for the show. Do you really think that you're the star? You're the star? Nah, I don't agree with that. In what world are you putting yourself on this pedestal?
Do you see what I mean? Like, there is a main character of the show. If you asked anybody that watched season 1, I'd be willing to bet they'd tell you Taylor is kind of the main plot character of the show. But to have the character on that show understand that, and to know that they're a character on a show, like, flat out ruins it for a little bit. How many decisions are they making out of money? If they're willing to be swayed this way, what choices are they making on the show that was, you know, a bug that a producer put in their ear? Hey, you should do this. Hey, we'll throw in a bonus if you're willing to say this. Does that happen? Doesn't it happen? I'm not accusing the show of anything, but everything is just kind of called into question now. And this moment is really special because it's kind of more real than it should have been, I guess. These people know they're on shows. Of course, they're getting money from it. There's cameras focused on them at all times. They have to get mic'd up before they go anywhere. They know that they're on a show. They get that fundamentally. Of course they do. So showing them being aware of that is arguably just good reality TV, right? They know they're on a show. You know that they know. They know that they're being watched. What's the point in hiding it? But when you do that, when you make it more real, you kind of step forward out of hyper reality. Kind of like superhero movies, but in a different way. Reality TV is based on disbelief. It's based on the idea that what we're seeing is actually real, even though our better judgment tells us that that's not the case. So when you take that extra step, when you show that it's not real, you show that they know that they're in a show, you show that the talking heads didn't happen when they happened, you show all of this stuff, it steps too far, and now it just becomes TV. With shows like this, there's a line that you're aiming for. You can push it so far. You can be so dramatic to the point where it's almost not believable, and that's good TV. But when you push too far, when you try too hard, when you let us see that it's a show, you go over that line, and now it's just not believable, and all the drama within it is pointless.